Hey everyone, and welcome to the deep dive. We're going depth today on large language models and how they're being deployed with Kubernetes.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be looking at excerpts from this book,
Yeah.
Mastering Large Language Models in Kubernetes.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand how these things work together
Right.
without needing to know all the jargon.
Yeah, it's a pretty dense read, but we're going to try to pull out the
Yeah.
interesting stuff.
Okay, so first things first. When we talk about LLMs, what are we actually talking about? I feel like I hear this term everywhere, but it still feels a little mysterious.
Right. It can definitely be a bit of a buzzword.
Yeah.
But think of it this way. Imagine you know the autocomplete on your phone.
Yeah.
But instead of just suggesting like a word or two, it can write entire emails, translate languages on the fly, even compose music,
Wow.
all based on massive amounts of text data it's been trained on.
Okay, so it's like super powered autocomplete. But what makes LLMs different from, say, like those chatbots we've been seeing for years? Like those things were never this smart.
That's where the transformer model comes in.
Yeah.
This is really the heart of what makes LLMs so powerful. It allows them to understand context and relationships between words in a way that older models just couldn't.
So it's not just about like stringing words together.
Right.
It's about actually understanding the meaning behind them.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why we're seeing these LLMs doing things that seem almost human-like.
Yeah.
Take GPT-3, for example.
Oh, yeah.
This model can write poetry, code, even generate like realistic dialogue. It was a huge leap forward.
Yeah, GPT-3 was wild. So we've got these crazy, powerful AI models. But how do we actually put them to work in the real world? That's where Kubernetes comes in, right?
Exactly, yeah. And Kubernetes is, well, it's a whole other beast. It's essentially an orchestration system for software applications. It kind of ensures that applications are running smoothly, that they can scale up or down as needed, even self-heal if something goes wrong.
Wait, self-heal. That sounds intense. So if, let's say, our LLM is suddenly hit with a ton of requests, maybe it goes viral or something,
Yeah.
Kubernetes can automatically handle all that increased traffic.
Exactly. It can spin up more copies of the LLM, distribute the load, and keep everything running smoothly. This scalability is a huge reason why Kubernetes is so popular for deploying these complex applications, especially LLMs.
Okay, that makes sense. So Kubernetes is like the conductor of the orchestra, making sure all the LLM musicians are playing in sync and no one's missing a beat.
I like that. I like that analogy. And one of the key benefits here is efficiency. Kubernetes is really good at allocating resources like computing power and memory where they're needed most, so you're not wasting money on idle servers.
So Kubernetes not only keeps things running smoothly, but it also helps save money in the process. Sign me up.
It's exactly right. It's a win-win. Now, before we get too deep into the technical weeds, the book actually uses a pretty good analogy to explain how we get these LLMs ready to run on Kubernetes. They talk about packing a suitcase for a trip.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's hear it.
So your suitcase is the LLM.
Okay.
It's got everything the model needs to function. But you can't just toss a loose suitcase onto a cargo ship.
Right.
You need to pack it into like a standardized shipping container first. That's where Docker comes in.
Okay, so Docker is like the container that makes our LLM easy to transport and manage.
Exactly. And Kubernetes is the massive cargo ship that carries all these containers across the ocean, making sure they get where they need to go, keeps them organized, even manages the loading and unloading process.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see the big picture here. We've got our containers, our deployments, and our services all orchestrated by Kubernetes. But, even with a well-packed suitcase and a giant ship, you still need a way to track where everything is and make sure it's working as it should, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's why monitoring and logging are so crucial when we're talking about LLMs and Kubernetes. It's like having a real-time dashboard that shows you how your LLM is performing, how many requests it's handling, how much resources it's using, whether there are any errors or issues.
So it's not just setting things up and hoping for the best. You need to actively keep tabs on things and make sure everything is, humming along smoothly.
Exactly. And this is especially important with LLMs because they can be quite resource intensive.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you're not overloading your system and that you're scaling things up or down as needed.
So it's like having a team of LLM engineers constantly monitoring the system, making sure everything is running smoothly and efficiently.
Precisely. And luckily, Kubernetes provides a wealth of tools and features that can help you with this. But we'll dive into those a bit later.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's take a deeper look at how we actually get these LLMs up and running on Kubernetes. What are the steps involved?
All right, so you've got your LLM all packed up in its Docker container, ready to go. The first step is to create a Kubernetes deployment.
A deployment. What's that exactly?
Think of it as a set of instructions for Kubernetes. It tells Kubernetes how many copies of your LLM container you want to run, what resources they need, like CPU and memory, and how they should be updated.
So it's like an automated blueprint for Kubernetes, making sure everything is set up just right for our LLM?
Exactly. And you define these deployments using YAML files.
YAML. Ooh, that sounds kind of technical.
Yeah, it is a bit, but it's not as scary as it sounds. YAML is basically a way to write structured data that Kubernetes can understand. Think of it like a recipe for your LLM deployment. It lists all the ingredients and instructions.
Okay, so we've got our Docker container, our Kubernetes deployment, and our YAML recipe. What's next?
Now we need to set up services.
Services, what do they do?
Services act as a sort of internal traffic cop within Kubernetes. They make sure that different parts of your application can communicate with each other, even if they're running on different servers.
So if our LLM has different components, one for processing text, one for generating output, and so on, the services make sure they can all talk to each other.
Exactly. They ensure that everything is connected and working in harmony.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. We've got our containers, deployments, and services all orchestrated by Kubernetes. But I'm curious, what are some of the challenges that companies might face when they're trying to scale their LLMs with Kubernetes? I imagine it's not always smooth sailing.
Yeah, you're right. It definitely can get tricky. One common challenge is resource management. LLMs can be very resource hungry, especially as you start to scale them up.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you have enough computing power, memory, and storage to handle the load.
So it's not just about spinning up more containers, it's about making sure those containers actually have the resources they need to function properly.
Exactly, exactly. And that can involve some careful planning and optimization. You might need to experiment with different container configurations, adjust resource limits, and even fine-tune the way your LLM is deployed to ensure maximum efficiency.
So it's a bit of an art and a science, finding that right balance between scalability and resource utilization.
It is. And another challenge is data management. LLMs often require access to large data sets for training and inference. You need to figure out how to store, manage, and secure these data sets, which can be tricky in a distributed Kubernetes environment.
Especially with those concerns about data privacy we talked about earlier.
Exactly. You might need to implement data encryption, access controls, and other security measures to protect sensitive information.
So security is a big piece of the puzzle when deploying LLMs on Kubernetes.
Absolutely. And it's not just about protecting data. You also need to think about securing the Kubernetes cluster itself.
Oh, what are some of the risks there?
Well, Kubernetes is a complex system with a lot of moving parts. If it's not properly configured and secured, it could be vulnerable to attacks. For example, an attacker could gain access to your cluster and steal sensitive data, disrupt your applications, or even launch denial of service attacks.
Yikes, that sounds scary.
It can be. But there are steps you can take to mitigate these risks. The book goes into detail about best practices for securing Kubernetes, like using strong passwords, enabling multi-factor authentication, and regularly updating your software.
So it's like any other security system. You need to be vigilant and stay ahead of the curve to keep things safe. But let's shift gears a bit. We've talked a lot about the technical challenges, but what about the organizational challenges? I imagine deploying LLMs with Kubernetes can require a shift in mindset for some companies.
You're absolutely right. One of the biggest challenges is the need for collaboration between different teams.
In what way?
Well, traditionally, you might have separate teams for development, operations, and security. But with Kubernetes and LLMs, these teams need to work together more closely than ever before.
So it's breaking down those silos and fostering a more integrated approach to development and deployment.
Exactly. You need developers who understand how to build and containerize LLM applications, operations folks who know how to manage Kubernetes clusters, and security experts who can ensure everything is locked down tight.
It sounds like it requires a real cultural shift for some organizations.
It does. And it's not just about collaboration between teams. It's also about adopting a more agile and iterative approach to development and deployment.
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. With traditional software development, you might have long development cycles, infrequent releases, and a lot of manual processes. But with Kubernetes and LLMs, you need to be able to move much faster.
So it's about embracing continuous integration and continuous delivery, constantly pushing out updates and improvements.
Exactly. And that requires automation, monitoring, and a culture of experimentation. You need to be able to quickly deploy new versions of your LLM, test them in a production-like environment, and roll back changes if something goes wrong.
It sounds like it's a whole new way of working.
It is. And it can be a challenge for organizations that are used to more traditional methods. But the benefits can be huge.
Like what?
Well, by embracing this more agile approach, you can get new features and improvements into the hands of your users much faster. You can also be more responsive to changes in the market or customer demands.
So it's about agility, speed, and responsiveness. Sounds like the winning formula in today's fast-paced world.
It is, and it's something that more and more companies are realizing as they start to adopt LLMs and Kubernetes.
Well, this has been a fascinating look at some of the challenges companies face when scaling their LLMs with Kubernetes. But let's pivot a bit. You mentioned earlier that Kubernetes provides a wealth of tools and features for monitoring and managing LLMs. Can we dive into those a bit? I'm curious to know what's available and how these tools can help us keep our LLM running smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to keeping your LLM running smoothly, Kubernetes has got you covered. Remember how we talked about monitoring and logging?
Yeah, like having a team of engineers constantly checking the gauges, making sure nothing's overheating.
Exactly. And Kubernetes gives you those gauges in the form of logs and metrics.
Hmm.
It's constantly collecting data about how your LLM is performing, how much resources it's using, whether there are any errors, and so on.
Okay, so it's gathering all this information, but how do we actually make sense of it? I'm not exactly a data scientist.
That's where the tools come in. Kubernetes works seamlessly with other open source tools like Prometheus and Grafana. Prometheus is like a data collector, constantly scraping metrics from your LLM and storing them. And then Grafana takes that data and turns it into these beautiful, easy-to-understand dashboards.
So instead of staring at endless lines of code, we can actually see charts and graphs that show us what's happening with our LLM in real time.
Exactly. You can see things like CPU usage, memory consumption, request latency, all the vital signs of your LLM. And you can set up alerts so you get notified if something goes wrong.
That's amazing. It's like having an early warning system for our LLM, so if things start to go haywire, we can catch it before it becomes a major problem.
Exactly. And this proactive approach is really key to managing LLMs at scale. Because these models can be so complex, it's not enough to just react to problems.
Yeah.
You need to be able to anticipate them and prevent them from happening in the first place.
So it's not just about putting out fires, it's about preventing them from starting in the first place. But let's say something does go wrong. How do we troubleshoot issues in a complex system like this? It feels like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
That's where tracing comes in. Tracing is like this detective tool that allows you to follow the path of a request as it travels through your LLM application.
So we can see exactly where things went wrong, which component caused the error, all that.
Precisely. You can see how long each step took, where bottlenecks occurred, and exactly where the request failed. This level of detail is invaluable for debugging and optimizing complex LLM deployments.
Okay, that makes sense. But all this talk about monitoring and debugging makes it sound like running an LLM on Kubernetes is a full-time job.
Well, it can definitely be challenging, especially at scale. But the good news is that Kubernetes also promotes automation.
Oh, good. So we can offload some of these tasks and free up our engineers to focus on more strategic work.
Exactly. Kubernetes allows you to automate things like scaling your LLM up or down, rolling out updates, even restarting failed containers.
So we can set up rules and policies that automatically handle these routine tasks, freeing up our team to focus on more complex issues.
Exactly. And this automation not only saves time and effort, but it also reduces the risk of human error.
That's a huge win. But let's be honest, even with all this automation and monitoring, things can still go wrong. What happens if our LLM crashes or becomes unresponsive?
Well, that's where the self-healing capabilities of Kubernetes come in. Kubernetes is constantly monitoring your containers and services. And if it detects a problem, like a container crashing or becoming unresponsive, it will automatically try to fix it.
So it's like having a built-in repair crew for our LLM. If something breaks down, Kubernetes will swoop in and try to fix it before anyone even notices.
Exactly. Yeah. It might restart the container, reschedule it to a different node, or even roll back to a previous version if necessary.
That's impressive. It's almost like Kubernetes has a mind of its own, constantly working behind the scenes to keep everything running smoothly.
It is. And this level of resilience is crucial for running mission-critical applications like LLMs. You can't afford to have downtime or interruptions.
Absolutely, reliability is key. Now, before we wrap things up, there's one more aspect I want to touch on, security. We've talked about it a bit, but I'd love to hear more about how Kubernetes helps us keep our LLM secure.
Great question. Security is paramount when working with LLMs.
Hmm.
Not only do you need to protect the LLM itself, but you also need to think about the data it's processing, right?
Right. Because these models often deal with sensitive information, customer data, financial records, even medical records in some cases.
Exactly. So Kubernetes provides a layered approach to security, starting with access control. It uses something called role-based access control, or RBAC. And this allows you to define very specific permissions for different users and groups.
So not everyone has the keys to the kingdom.
Exactly. You can create roles like admin, developer, and viewer, each with different levels of access to your Kubernetes cluster and your LLM application.
So we can limit who can make changes to the system, who can view sensitive data, and so on.
Exactly. And this granular control is essential for maintaining security and compliance.
Okay, so we've got access control locked down. What about protecting the data itself, both in transit and at rest?
Kubernetes has got you covered there too. It supports various encryption mechanisms, both at the network level and at the storage level.
So we can encrypt the data as it flows through our LLM pipeline, and we can also encrypt the data that's stored on disk.
Exactly. And this encryption helps protect the data from unauthorized access, even if someone manages to breach your system.
Okay, that's reassuring. So Kubernetes not only helps us manage and scale our LLM, but it also provides this robust security framework to keep everything safe and sound.
Exactly. And that's why it's become the go-to platform for deploying and managing LLMs in production environments.
This has been a truly deep dive into the world of LLMs and Kubernetes. We've covered a lot of ground, from the basics of these technologies to the complexities of deploying and managing them in real-world scenarios.
It's been an exciting journey. And I hope our listener feels empowered to explore this field further, whether they're a developer, a data scientist, or just someone who's curious about the future of AI.
I'm sure they do. This deep dive has given me a whole new appreciation for the power and potential of these technologies.
Mine too. And what's most exciting is that we're still in the early stages of this revolution. As LLMs continue to evolve and Kubernetes continues to mature, we can only imagine what incredible innovations lie ahead.
It's an incredible time to be witnessing this convergence of AI and cloud computing, and we're grateful to have had you as our guide on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure. And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
That's all for this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.